From the News Channel 5 Network, this is MorningLine.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on MorningLine. I'm Nick Beres. It's Monday. We're going to open up the phone lines for you and invite you to join in the conversation. As always, that's what this show is all about. Without you calling in, well, it's only half the show. But there still is another half, because it's not just me this morning, it is our guest. And we're going to be taking your calls and questions, as we do on a regular basis here, about your pets. It's going to be Ask a Veterinarian. There it is. See, it says Ask the Vet. The number is 737-7587 if you want to jump in and talk about any issue regarding your pet or a neighbor's pet or something along those lines with Allison Fields, our veterinarian.
Morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Great.
It's nice. I opened up my arms like this as though it's an embrace.
Big hug.
I'm welcoming you to this. Well, how was your weekend?
It was good.
Did you work emergency this weekend?
No, I was off this weekend.
Wow. Okay. So, well, when you do, by the way, work emergency.
I don't anymore.
You don't anymore, but you
used to.
have.
For many years.
Anything and everything can come in.
Anything and everything, and you have no idea.
Jeez.
Some people call. We love it. The emergency clinics love it when you call them and tell them you're on the way.
Sure.
With what's going on, so they can kind of get prepared for what might be coming in. But we also get a lot of just walk through the door with something.
Or maybe they were just looking for one. They were like, let's get downtown, and they find a clinic and they just see you and go in.
Well, and the nice thing now is when I started practicing in Nashville 15 years ago, we had one emergency clinic. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 in the greater Nashville area that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Which is great.
That's awesome. Because, well, for an area this size, you need that.
Right.
You know you have pet emergencies on the weekend.
And it saves people from driving, you know, 30 minutes from Hendersonville down to downtown Nashville if they have an emergency.
Now, you guys have a helicopter evac, though, right?
No, you stop.
You don't have a Lifeflight for doggies?
No.
But that might be something you'd like. You know what? You might want to look into that.
Well, we'll get you in on that on the bankroll.
Wouldn't that be awesome if you had Lifeflight for that?
Imagine the bill for that.
That would be kind of expensive.
Kind of. Maybe we could just use the News Channel 5 helicopter.
How about that? Wouldn't that, when it's sitting there not using use?
It's not being used.
Let's have have those little doggy containers, or for, you know, carrying them, getting there in a hurry.
I'm sure that the big boss wouldn't mind.
That might be a problem, but we can look into it. Hey, you know, it's interesting is we'll take your calls again on any issues with your pets, but my wife volunteers a lot at many of these animal shelters, and you know, she's of the same mind of you as we get callers sometimes in terms of taking care of a pet and the responsibility you have for it. And it's so depressing in some ways when you talk to the folks there about, okay, these dogs, and you see them brought in, and you always want to know the backstory with them. And a lot of times it's very hard to get a straight answer from the people who drop them off.
Right.
But what I've also heard, and I'm even looking and doing more of a story on this, is if you have a dog that you just can no longer keep anymore or whatever, you don't want to put some ad somewhere that says dog free to a good owner and talk about why you don't do that.
You never want to give away a free dog.
Talk about why.
Well,
and there's some really bad reasons why you don't want to do that.
There are lots of bad reasons. A lot of people will use them for bait dogs, for training fighting dogs, and just abuse them in other ways. And you always want to charge something for the dog, because if somebody's not willing to pay, and I'm not talking hundreds of dollars, you know, $50, $100. You know, if they're willing to pay $50 or $100, then more than likely they're going to take care of their investment.
Right.
You know, they spent this money on it. They're probably going to take care of it. So yeah, I caution people never, ever, ever to list a free animal.
Don't list a free animal. And sometimes you see, you know, at fairs or at flea markets, sometimes people out there with boxes are giving away puppies or cats. In fact, that's how I got some of mine years and years ago. We would get them, but you just worry about who is taking these animals and what they're doing with them.
Right.
And listen, I hate to say it, but there are some awful, despicable people out there. You talk about using them for bait dogs. I'm talking about, I know of a case where there's an individual who likes to bear hunt. Okay, he likes to bear hunt.
I don't want to hear a sad story.
Okay, you're like, I don't either. Well, how he trains his dogs to bear hunt, and it involves bear urine on puppies. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay.
Okay, all I'm saying is people like that.
Yeah, don't need dogs and cats.
No.
And
people like that. That person on the railroad tracks and the dog on the railroad tracks. And the train's coming.
Dog.
Guess who's dying? Not the dog.
No.
Sorry, am I a bad person for that? Yeah, that human's going to get run over by the train.
Yeah, I'd
That's
save the
my
dog.
thinking about that. It makes me so angry.
Tell me how you really feel.
That's out there. So, how could you save a dog over a human? Trust me, I can.
Right.
Okay, and I know you can too, depending on the individual. Good thing that I'm not, the judge, jury, and executioner.
That's a very good
I
thing.
would not be benevolent.
No, you wouldn't.
I would
You'd be
not.
smiting people all over the place.
I know, I would. That's probably for the best. All right, listen, we're going to get some calls, but before we get to those, just wanted to throw out what you've kind of seen as we're tailing into the dog days of summer now. Boy, we've had some really mild temperatures.
For the most part.
But
some
what have
not
you
so mild
seen, or
ones.
what do you think we need to throw out for folks right now this time of year?
You know, ticks, everybody was kind of thinking that ticks are going to be really bad this year, but they haven't been as bad yet
Okay.
as I was expecting, which is good. I think that fleas are, for the most part, under control. I think that with the advent of really good flea control, most people are using flea control, and so we're not seeing as many horrible cases of fleas, which is great.
How about any reports, probably not at your office, but elsewhere, of rabies anywhere that you've heard in the region? Do they send out alerts sometimes in neighborhoods or communities?
No, it's typically by the state.
Oh, well, that's right. Have you had any of those at all?
I had one not too long ago, and I cannot remember what it was. If it was it was actually North or South Carolina, and it was a kitten.
Ah.
Yeah, that exposed like 9 people.
How would a kitten, it's not something you'd be born with, right?
No, it was
something bit
bitten
it.
by something and got rabies, and then like
crazy.
9 different people were exposed to it and ended up having to have prophylaxis and stuff.
It's interesting. Bats can be carriers of rabies, right? I went to the drive-in on Friday, and before the movie started, and this was in Watertown, I looked up, and there were all these little cute bats flopping. And the nice thing about it, provided they don't have rabies and bother you, is if there's bats around,
There's no bugs.
awesome. The mosquitoes gone. There wasn't a bug anywhere that night, and you thought we would have been eaten alive. But I always think to myself, if a bat, kind of just swooped down and clipped your ear, and you didn't realize
probably
it.
won't just
I know they
clip
won't
your
do
ear.
that, but if it did by happenstance, you'd have to go, and you're not going to catch that darn bat.
No.
You would have to go get rabies shots just out of precaution. Of course, you wouldn't know it was a bat that did it, probably, and then you'd get rabies and die.
I think there are specific species of bats that
Are more likely to carry
are more
them.
likely to carry it, or parts of the country, and I have not done enough bat research. Here in Middle Tennessee, we're concerned about skunks. Those are our big carriers.
We used to have a little bat that would hang in our garage.
And you probably named him.
I know, it's Batty. But
Original,
anyway,
Nick, original.
The truth is, you're right about that. If you have a bat nest somewhere, or sometimes people will actually set up
Yeah.
structures that allow them, it obliterates the bugs in your
It
neighborhood.
does.
And they're wonderful.
That's why we have bats.
Bats are actually very, very wonderful,
They are
amazing
great.
creatures.
I think they actually will, some bats will pollinate plants.
Oh,
And
I think, yeah, because they go
like
after
fruit
nectar.
bats and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, to mention pollinate, harvested my honey this weekend. Brought her a tiny little jar.
She did. He did.
It's medicinal and good. Doesn't taste medicinal. It tastes yummy.
Can't wait.
Our bees, can they technically, since I do feed them sugar water at times and I've been known to stroke their backs? No, I don't. Can they be pets?
I don't think they're pets.
No. More like
Because
livestock?
I think they're more like livestock. They just hang out there because you gave them a home, but they can leave that home anytime and go find another one.
You're right. And I do not pet my bees.
I
Probably
know.
not the smartest move.
No.
But I do go out there and watch them. And just watch. They're amazing. Anyway, they were great. And when you harvest honey, it's always a success. Not if you get much honey, which is nice if
Right.
you do. It's a success if no one gets stung.
Absolutely.
And that's always good. Yeah. All right, we're going to take a call before we go to the break.
Okay.
And then the lines are rocking. We'll open them up for you. Questions for our veterinarian at 737-7587. Start off with Dorothy. Hi, Dorothy.
Good morning. How
Good
are
morning.
y'all?
Good.
Good morning.
I have a pug, and he, for the last 2 or 3 months, when he goes outside, he comes back in and he bites on his feet, and he eats grass, and I don't know why. But I have to wash his feet, but he still doesn't do any good. So what can I do for his feet? And I'll hang up and listen to your answer. Thank you very much, ma'am, for taking my call.
You're welcome. Well, eating grass isn't too out of this world for dogs.
Why
A lot
do
of
they do that?
I think they just like it.
Cats sometimes do it
Yeah.
to try to get sick,
Yeah,
don't
I
they?
don't.
If they're-
Well, some dogs will vomit if they eat too
Yeah.
much, but a lot of dogs will just eat it, especially after a good rainstorm when the grass like shoots up and it's nice and fresh. So I don't really know why they do it, but it's not that bad. As for licking the feet, Dogs can have contact allergies, and it may be that the grass is irritating his feet. And even though she's washing him, she may not get all of that contact off there. There may not be a whole lot to do. I mean, unless you pave your yard, which you're probably not going to do.
Right.
So you may want to talk to your veterinarian about using an antihistamine during the summer months when the grass is growing quickly and there's lots of, it's trying to sprout, so you're getting the little pollen and stuff. So you might want to talk to your vet about getting an antihistamine dose and that you could use and see if that works.
Yeah, I'm guessing if it's just in the summertime, it's like contact dermatitis. Would she notice anything about the pads
Not necessarily.
possibly?
They could just be itchy.
Just be itchy. All right, listen, on that note, we'll take a break. Thanks for your call. That's a good one. Check it out. Antihistamine might be able to help. The line's open, 737-7587. Michelle, let's see, we've got Louise, Chrissy, and others. Stay where you are. We've got lines, well, 2 or 3 still there if you want to jump in. Back with more right after this.